Welcome to the Chronicles of a Virgo podcast, a podcast centered around uplifting and motivating others to be a better and healed version of themselves. Each week, we will dive into a hard topic pertaining to life experiences, mental health, healing, and even trending news. We may even have a few friends join us here and there. Now, here is your favorite Virgo host, Shakita Johnson.
All right, y'all. Welcome back to another episode of Chronicles of a Virgo podcast. And as usual, I'm your favorite Virgo host, Shakita Johnson. And as always, I am joined by another wonderful guest. This is a special edition. I've been waiting for this. And as y'all see, we are twinning today with the matching Self-Love Club sweatshirts. So I am joined today by Mr. Scott Anthony Riley, aka Mr. BeTheFlowMovement. How are you doing today, sir?
I am awesome. Thank you so much for having me. This is an honor.
Yes, not a problem. Thank you for being here, being a guest on my show, and to come talk to me and my supporters. I really appreciate this opportunity. So again, thank you guys for tapping in with me for this episode. And as usual, we got to start off with our lovely mental health check. So Mr. Scott, on a scale of 1 to 5, with 5 being that you're in a really good mental space right now, 1 being you're not so well, there's some room for improvement, but you're okay. Where would you rate your mental health today on a scale of 1 to 5?
Hey, I am definitely rocking with a 5-piece. I'm really in a great space. It's been some changes in this new year, but today, in this moment, I could definitely say I'm a 5.
Okay, awesome. Glad to hear that. And I feel like looking at your social media, you're always on a 5. If you ever was anything lower, I definitely wouldn't be able to tell, but definitely I love your energy. I love your vibe. It's always high, superseding of a 5, in my opinion.
I definitely appreciate that. But trust and believe, every day is not always a 5.
Okay, we're going to get into that. So for me today, I'm going to be honest, because I always try to bring my authentic self and feelings and everything to the forefront. So I'm going to say today, I am winging it at probably a 3. Like you said, you said the new year came in with some changes. I wouldn't per se, yes, I guess I could say the same thing for myself. And I don't know if you agree with this, but for me, sometimes change is very uncomfortable and it takes some adapting to get used to certain things. So I'm in that adapting to change right now. So it's a little uncomfortable, a little shaky. So I'm at a 3 right now.
No, I get it. It's definitely days like that. And you hit it on the head. Change can be uncomfortable. But again, I think, it's a part of evolving, right? Mm-hmm. Things stay the same, you tend to stay in your own comfort zone. How healthy is that really? So sometimes change.
Yeah, but I know what to do to get through it, and I gotta be in the flow. Gotta release the resistance and just let things go. So I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna be all right.
Yeah, I know you will.
Yes, but again, thank you for joining me for this conversation. We're going to talk about some good things, some mental health, some healing, all of those wonderful things. And this season for me, I have been diving more into conversations with Black men, just because I am more interested in hearing different men's perspectives on just their healing journeys or their mental, their struggles and difficulties with mental health. Nothing against my ladies, I go back and forth with having men and women on, but I feel like just from what I've realized and from what I see on social media, a lot of men don't have safe and comfortable spaces to talk about those things. And you put yourself on the forefront with your platform and bring a lot of things. You spread a lot of awareness when it comes to mental health. So I appreciate you for doing that, not only for myself, but for, the Black culture in general.
Well, thank you. I mean, it's necessary. I mean, again, when you talk about our culture and just, people in general, I mean, it's such a taboo topic. People, if I can use the word afraid, are afraid to actually tap in and talk about it. Even though we all have something that, sometimes prevents us to be the best version of ourselves. So again, I'm sure we'll get into it, but the my own story, my own journey, I just knew I wasn't the only one that was feeling the way I was feeling. So I decided to, start a movement, create a platform to advocate for it, for not just for myself, but for everyone.
Yes, that's awesome. And I know a little bit about you just from what I have seen and, different interviews. So can you tell my supporters just who is Mr. Scott Anthony Riley?
Well, I'm a brother, I'm a son, I'm a father. I'm a true through and through Chicagoan, born and raised here in the city on the west side, right here in K-Town. I come from a 2-parent home. I'm the youngest of 3. My mom and dad did an amazing job, having a home that was full of love, structure, discipline. They made sure my brother and sister, I had an older brother and sister. They made sure we didn't go without, they just really stressed education. Education was everything. But I was fortunate that I had an older brother and sister that also excelled at athletics. My brother was really dope at wrestling and football. My sister was awesome in volleyball, and I chose my lane in basketball. And I was fortunate, to really excel, to do really well in high school ball, which allowed me to receive a full athletic scholarship to college to play ball. Athletics was really a big part of my life growing up. But since then, since growing and evolving, it's just so much more. So many other doors have opened and so much growth within myself. But I'm sure we'll get into all that as well.
Yeah. So fun fact, I played ball too.
What?
Yeah, I played from elementary school on to college. I stopped playing about my second year of college because I fractured my tibia.
Oh, you had an injury.
Injury. And after all the rehab and stuff, I didn't feel comfortable or confident enough in my leg,
Get it. I guess. So what, you were a point guard?
I was a guard, yes.
Okay, I was about to say, I know we haven't met in person, but I'm assuming you were shorty. Like you might look like you might be like 5'1", 5'2".
Close, I'm 5'3", but in my mind, I'm bigger. My coach had me. I had a coach that he's seen stuff in us that we didn't see in ourselves, and I ended up transferring schools. So the last school I played at the time, it was called the College of Notre Dame of Maryland, because I'm in Baltimore.
Okay.
He had me rotating from 1 to 5.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he did. It was the worst thing ever. But that's because he trusted the defense to do things that they were supposed to do,
I was about to pick up for that coach, because if he rotated you in those different spots on the floor, he definitely trusted you to be out there and handle your business. He must saw some dog in you too to be down there banging in the paint. So yeah.
Yeah, I was aggressive. But yeah, I loved it. I loved the game, lost my passion for it a little bit, but I still watch it. I'm getting back into the swing of things. So I definitely know where that athletic mindset and toughness and that grit comes from.
I mean, it was a blessing. I mean, honestly, without basketball, it really gave me that true structure and discipline that I needed, not only to attain my college degree, but also just understand the discipline it takes to do anything in life. It really comes back down to consistency and discipline. And that's something that when I have opportunity to do public speaking or just different podcasts, I always come back to that one word, and that's discipline.
That's amazing. So you came from a 2-family household. You had a good education. You went on to play college ball. Where did this drive and ambition for mental health come into play? What were the contributing factors that made you seek your own healing journey?
Well, again, growing up, I was always chatty. I was always a little impulsive. I was always go. So, I mean, you never thought that you weren't normal, or you didn't think that, maybe something was off. Cause again, life moved the way it needed to move. I was in a loving home. I had, dope older brother and sister, and my cousin. I had a ton of cousins that were like my first friends. So like nothing was ever like put out there like, Scott, you're too hyper or like something, because everything was just moving the way it moved. But again, as I navigated through life, and athletics was such a big part of who I was, that was my identity. And right after playing college ball, of course, like anybody else, you have the ambitions of going on professional. But my college coach came to me and was like, look, Riles, he was like, you have an amazing basketball IQ. If you want to pursue this professional thing, hey, I will help you try and find overseas contracts, whatever you want to do. But I think you'll be a dope coach, the way I see, the way you see the game, the way you feel it. I started for 4 years in college. I was a captain for the last 2 years, my junior and senior year. Like,
you must have been good.
I did my thing. I'm all decade, 90s, all decade. I did my thing, because it wasn't a job. It's just, I love hooping. That was a part of who I was. So again, when I had to make that jump from playing to coaching, I was still in it. I was still a young coach out there practicing with the players, and I was loving it. When I had the opportunity to start recruiting, my ability to connect with people, I always had this energy about myself, right? Like it was always like, what's up? Here I am, I'm in the building. So the recruiting portion of it was easy. It was the when I really tapped into my mental health is when I made the transition from being connected to athletics to just being Scott. So you go from like basically the 4th to 5th grade all the way to grammar school, high school, college, to coaching, to, being a part of something special, to everybody always telling you how great you are, people hooking you up with this, you're on this pedestal, right? And then all of a sudden, boom, I'm just Scott again. And I was like, well, who is Scott? Like, I had no identity. Well, at least I didn't think I did at the time. So fear of that made me indulge in things that was not healthy for me, from way too much partying, drinking, being places and, I shouldn't have been, spending money I didn't have. I was living a reckless, I was truly living a reckless lifestyle, and that lifestyle led to a depression. And I didn't even know it. Kid, when I tell you I was 50 pounds overweight, my face was this big, I was swole up. I'm coming in the house every night at 3 a.m., and I'm eating pizza and double cheeseburgers and doing it all over again every weekend. It was a struggle. It was a struggle. And again, in 2016, I was about to become first-time dad, about to be 40 years old, about to have a kid for the first time. And honestly, that's when the game changed. That's when I had to have that come to Jesus moment, look at myself in the mirror, and I knew that I had to like man up, and make some big boy changes, and that's what created the BeTheFlowMovement.
Oh, you have a phenomenal story. You do, because not everyone can talk about like all the rough parts, right? Because what people see on the internet or in the flesh is like everything that you are now, but like it is a pleasure to know things that led up to what you are now, right? Like you said, the drinking, the partying, all that stuff.
Oh my goodness, when I tell you there were dark days. I mean,
and what did that look like? Because dark days can look different for a lot of people. So what did a dark day look like for you?
Insecurities, second guessing myself, self-doubt, just really wondering like what was my purpose here, like without sports, and really trying to dig deep to figure out like, okay, I don't have that anymore. What else am I good at? Like, what is my purpose? And I was searching. Oh, well, you know what? I'm really good at partying. So let's dive into this lifestyle. But it became toxic, and that's when I really found out who my true friends were. Because when I wasn't able to get in VIP anymore and flip the bill like I used to with the bottle service and all that, everybody started disappearing here and there. Like people start like finding their own way. When those hard times came and I needed to pick up the phone and call somebody, it was like, man, who do I really call? Who can I trust? Who can I be vulnerable with? Because again, I came from a 2-parent home, but my dad, he was old school. He was from Mississippi, from the South. So he had Black boys in his home where he raised us, like boys don't cry, emotions.
Oh man.
Like, boy, we tough, we men, we rallies, like, come on. So again, as I'm struggling, through this chapter in my life, like the idea of being able to tell someone or express to someone how I was feeling, that wasn't even going through my mind at the time, because I had to be strong, right? I had to be a man. So those dark days, they were rough, man. They were really hard. But knowing that I was about to be a dad, especially when I went to that ultrasound and the nurse practitioner looked at me and my ex-wife, my fiance at the time, she looked at us and she was like, "Do you want to know the gender?" And of course, me, I'm chopping, yeah. And she was like, "You're gonna have a little girl." When I tell you, like waterfalls, like I'm bawling, I'm crying like crazy, just knowing that this little girl was going to like depend on me and need me. So again, time like lapsed, where it was still some dark days while, she's carrying my, my child, and like closer to the due date, like that's when that moment came. I literally looked myself in the mirror. I mean, I was crying. I was in a fetal position in the bathroom, like just bawling, because I knew I wasn't the best version of myself. I knew that it was so much better in me, and I wasn't giving the world that. I wasn't giving myself that. And, I reverted back to what I knew. I grabbed my gym bag and I went to the gym. I didn't pick up a basketball and start shooting, but I started, working out. I was like, my fat butt got to get back right, and that's what kind of flipped the switch. That's what flipped the switch to, the endorphins going and the start sweating again. But that day, that moment, I'll never forget that day. I still get chill bumps right now talking about it because it's so vivid. Like, it happened yesterday where I made a promise to myself that day. I knew I wasn't the only one feeling that way. And that's when I created the Be The Flow movement. But I also made a promise to myself that I would never go back to that lifestyle, that toxic way of living, that selfishness of, living life. So yeah, I just, it was time to grow up, and I did.
Okay. And it's funny you said, like, you mentioned going to the gym, because I feel like that is a lot of people's like first thing, like when you're in that mode of like depression, like, because to me in my mind, I'm like, if you feel good, you look good. If you look good, you feel good. And one way to like start is like to hit the gym if you are physically able to, you know what I'm saying? So you about to have your baby girl was like a huge turning point for you, and you began to like work on your fitness journey and stuff. So besides like going to the gym and working on your physical attributes, how did you prepare yourself mentally, to block out like all of the extra toxic activities that you were engaging in, and like all the negative thoughts and things that you may have had in the past?
You know what? It's so funny that you say that, because when you say block out, it really was that because again, when you look at the Be The Flow logo, even the logo here on our Self-Love Club hoodies, the headphones are symbolic exactly for that, to block out all the noise. A lot of people are like, what is that? Beautiful? Is that music? Are you a rapper? I'm like, well, I can spit though, but no, I'm kidding. But seriously, the headphones are symbolic to block out the noise, and that's what I literally had to do. I took my cell phone, I went through all my contacts, I deleted people, places, and things that I think that weren't going to serve me to be the best version of myself. And it was literally me retraining my brain on things that I knew were only going to elevate me and help me evolve. So people who were trying to get in contact with me, they couldn't. Either they were blocked or deleted. And it was just me like, okay, isolate myself. No, homeboys calling, yo, we over there kicking and watching a football game, slide through, bring a 12 pack. I'm like, nah, I'm good.
I'm a change man.
It was really like, eliminating toxic behaviors. And again, I love my homies. I love like the guys I grew up with, whether in the neighborhood or my brothers that I ended up playing college ball with. Like these are my brothers, like these are my boys. But again, it wasn't about anybody else at that time but me. Like me taking myself down this road and understanding what was at stake. My daughter looks at me as a superhero, and that is the best feeling in the world. Like nothing can replace that feeling. Like again, I'm getting chills now even saying that, because that was enough for me to know that she deserved a life that I could provide for her. And I'm not even just talking about monetary, like buying her things and stuff, but I'm talking about me being the best version of me, being able to love on this little girl and show her what love is, normalizing opening doors for her, bringing her flowers. I take my daughter on dates, like say I go get my donut, like we kicking it, like we dancing in the car, listening to music, a whole vibe. But like I want to normalize these behaviors for her because again, I'm the first man that she loved. So if she sees that now, me being the best version of me, like she doesn't see me yell, she doesn't see me curse, like things like that. I don't listen to trap music in the car with her. We rocking the door to explore. We listening to stuff like that. So all that took precedent of, over the toxic decisions and lifestyles that I had prior to starting to BeTheFlowMovement.
That's amazing. That's really amazing. And it's so important for men to be an active participant of their children's lives, especially like their daughters. I recently had the opportunity to speak with a life coach, and she's also a licensed therapist. And one of the things that we were talking about is trying to cultivate positive self-esteem. And she was saying that statistics show now that children that have their father in their lives at a young age, and as they grow up and that father is like not just there, because it's a difference than being there and actually being active and engaged with that child, show that that child is less likely to have like self-esteem and mental health issues, which I feel like explains a lot, because like my father was not active. I didn't meet my father until I was 21, 22. Okay. And I literally can count on one hand how many times I've seen him. Now, personally, it doesn't bother me, but I know for a lot of people, like having that active male figure, especially a Black man, being the best version of himself in their life, it definitely is very beneficial. So definitely keep doing the amazing job that you're doing, because like you said, she looks up to you like you're a superhero,
that, because it does matter. It does matter. She didn't ask to be here. And even through the divorce, she was too young to understand that what was going on. But I knew, even though this relationship didn't work out, I knew I could still be a dope dad. And, I want to be as present, as possible, from going to dance recitals to soccer games, soccer practices, anything and everything, because it's all about making these memories. I record everything. She be like, Dad, put down your phone, please. Because again, I want to take all the pictures and videos of my little girl just to have those memories. So yeah, I love it.
That's so cute. So within you trying to make the best changes for yourself, about to have a baby, and you're just trying to be the best version of you. And you said something that I feel like is very important, because I dealt with this as well, but it was removing yourself from environments that you didn't fit in anymore. And that includes creating boundaries for people that that no longer serve you. So tell me about how are you able to maintain those appropriate boundaries, even when it became tempting? Because for me personally, like when I started like my whole journey and stuff, even to this day, things that I love to do, like partying and different things, out drinking, I don't have a liking for, even some like TV shows and movies and stuff. There's just certain things that I don't like. Now I may, hang out once in a blue moon or something like that. But I'm trying to tell you, like, I was running the streets,
Right.
having fun, especially like being an athlete,
Right.
like,
Oh,
college life was fun.
no doubt. No doubt about it.
So like, how are you able to like create those boundaries where you stayed on track and then keep those boundaries with those people? Because I feel like that's important too.
No, like you said, it's hard. It is hard, but to me, it always comes back to choice, right? Like, you can choose the life that you want to live. And again, everyone situations, right? Like a lot of my homeboys didn't have fathers in their home. So they kind of, floated, over to my house more. And we had sleepovers, and my dad had one-on-one conversations about, with them. They didn't have, a man in their life. But when you talk about loving the, people, especially the ones you care, whether it's family, friends, people you get in relationships with, those are the toughest ones to create boundaries with, because we have this perception of love in our mind of what it's supposed to be. From movies books we read, like they give you a definition of love. But growing up, like, who really advocated for self-love, putting yourself before others? It wasn't until I was in my adulthood where I heard the statement of, you can't pour from an empty cup, because again, you're trying to, like, especially when you talk about people that's people pleasers, that want to make sure everybody's good, everybody's happy, everyone's getting along, right? That's exhausting.
Yeah.
That's exhausting. But when you're able to create boundaries, especially with the people you love, you love them, nothing's changed, but you still got to have those boundaries, keeping them at arm's length. When they come around you with that negative energy, like, they complaining about this. Hey, look, I'm sorry you're going through that. I really am. If you need me to listen to something, I will make myself available at this time. But right now I'm in a really good space. And then, I need to keep moving the way I'm moving right now. And again, when I start creating these different boundaries, not only with family, but with friends, like they look back like, what, you good? Oh, I'm like, I'm great. I'm great. And the funny part about boundaries are those who understood or didn't take it personal, those are the people that's still in my life right now. But those who felt like, what? You're not here for me? You're not what?
Right.
What? I don't rock with those people anymore. Because again, if it was a problem for me putting myself first, worrying about my own mental health, opposed to carrying your negative weight or your vibe, if that's a problem, okay, let's go ahead and move that way then. And I'm okay. I'm definitely okay with that. And like I said, whenever I do podcasts or have opportunity to speak publicly, that is so important when you talk about mental health. Because again, we are people who want to, like, especially if you're empath, like you want to help. Like I come from I want to help. I want to help everybody, but I understand that you can't help everybody. You can't fix everything. You just can't. So boundaries are important. I mean, it's one of the foundations of the Be the Flow movement, because you have to prioritize yourself first. The self-love journey is exactly that. It's a journey. It is a marathon, not a sprint. I tell people, you're not going to figure this thing out in a week, in a month, in a year. I started the Be the Flow movement in 2016, and I'm still working on me every day. I do not have a golden key to say, open this door and here go all the answers, because it truly is work, but I love it. I love putting in the work, so I encourage anybody who's listening, who's going to hear this, that if you are struggling with creating boundaries, especially with those you love, you have to do it, because self-love is not selfish.
No, it's not. And I I learned that later in life as well. I think when my whole healing journey started was in like 2019. So that's when I learned the power of like self-love and the fact that it wasn't selfish. And I also learned that no is a complete sentence, because
Yeah.
I was a people pleaser. You, like you said, you just want to help everybody, you know. But then what I realized is the more that I, went on this journey of healing, those people that I was helping wasn't reciprocating the same energy. Like you said, it wasn't fair, and I, don't get me wrong, like I don't look for like what's fair and what's not fair. However, like if I'm going above and beyond in for anybody in my circle or whatever, I kind of expect for you to be there, even if it's just like to be a shoulder to lean on or open air, But once you start to do the work, like you realize things so much more clear. And I'm like,
No,
okay. And like you
no,
said, like a lot of those people are not around anymore. And then you become okay with that.
yes. And you know what, Shakita, it's crazy because we do live in a world of givers and takers, right? Like there are people who like will see your good nature, your good energy, your good vibe, and they can come in with that smile and you think like, oh, wow, they rock like I rock. They have good energy, good vibe, and all they doing is just kind of sitting back, just watching, just sitting back watching, seeing where they can make they play to come in and try and drain you, see what they can get from you. And again, it's not just always about money, what they can get from you, because time is more valuable than anything. So if people can, have access to you, and be drained from you that way, I tell everybody, you have to value your time like you value your life. And that's one thing about boundaries is people that I used to call friends no longer have access to me. Like, and it's not personal. Like, again, it's not personal. I just know that you don't bring value to my life or what I'm trying to do. And I still got love for you. If I see you in these streets, I'm going to give you mad love. I'm going to give you a hug. I'm going to dap you up and all that. But as far as the way I'm navigating through life right now, my circle is very small. It's probably a handful of people who know how I move, people who know how I move on a daily basis. There's probably 2, maybe 3 people I share the most intimate details about, some struggles that I may have. But again, that took work over time, being able to weed out the ones who I knew truly loved me, my authentic self, the good and the ugly. So yeah, boundaries are man, it should be the foundation of everyone's self-love journey. So yeah.
Yeah, most definitely. And when you talk about self-love and self-care, like I have learned that like there are different parts of it, like there's a whole like, a self-maintenance part and self-maintenance and what some people perceive as like self-care is self-maintenance, but to each his own.
Yeah.
But in being on a journey of just healing in general, there are things that you have to maintain to keep you in check. You use the analogy not pouring from an empty cup. I like to use the analogy as well, but also not pouring from a cracked cup, right? Because if there is a crack in the foundation of a cup, what's it going to do? It's going to leak,
Exactly.
So I prefer to be a wholesome but cup, whereas though it just runneth over, and then I have so much to offer that I can pour back into myself, of course, but other people. And it takes things and maintenance to keep me up to par. So for you, what does it take to keep you up to par? Like, what is that self-maintenance to keep you on track, to keep your mental balanced?
Well, man, honestly, I think what truly helps me, coming from, an athletic background, the one thing I've come to the realization is that I thrive when I have structure. So coming from a place where I knew I had to wake up every Monday morning at 5 a.m., be at, weights at 5:30, then you have conditioning, then you have class, then you have study, then you have individual workouts, then you have practice, then you have study table.
Mm-hmm.
Like having that structure was like when I was thriving, right? So I got away from structure when I was dealing with those dark days. But now I've implemented structure back in my life where every morning I wake up and I start my morning with mindfulness meditation. Like I don't trip about what happened yesterday. I'm not future tripping or what's going to happen tomorrow. I'm literally just present in the moment, and whatever energy comes my way in that day, I deal with it accordingly and I move the way I need to move. So I start my day with meditation. I go ahead throughout the rest of my day, vibing with good energy. I tend to go get my little coffee with my shots of espresso, get my little dancey dance on in the car, listening to music. And after I'm done, if I'm not vibing with my daughter, you can catch me, either dancing on the treadmill or going to the gym just, to, keep that energy moving. And then I find myself coming home, and what I've started to do most recently is just getting in the habit of writing down my thoughts, before I go to bed. And one thing that I always tell people to try and take with them, and again, everything that works for me may not work for the next person, but
right.
I find it very uplifting to write down whether it's a few things or one thing that you're grateful for every night. Because I find myself going to bed grateful and waking up with purpose. And as long as I can keep the same energy, going to bed grateful and waking up with purpose, I think I'm going to be all right. So structure is very important. And again, routines, having that daily routine, having that structure, being able to hold yourself accountable when you don't stick to your routines, which is structured, you gotta be able to look at yourself like, all right, Scott, you tripping, dog. You didn't go to the gym yet. What we gonna do? You know what? Let's go ahead and bust out 100 jumping jacks real quick. I'm gonna run in place for 20 minutes. Like, you start feeling guilty when you start slipping. Well, at least you would, especially if you built these habits in this routine. So I encourage everybody to find a routine that works for you. And it doesn't have to be going to the gym, lifting a bunch of weights and jumping rope. I heard, I remember a guy, Dr. Ian, he used to be on all these different talk shows and stuff. And he said, if every person on this planet can commit to 30 minutes a day, whether it's walking, running, jumping, anything, we wouldn't be known as a obese country anymore. So I always keep that in the back of my head. Like, Scott, 30 minutes, you can't find 30 minutes for yourself, because that's what it is. It truly is. It can be therapeutic. I mean, working out can be therapy. So especially when that music back.
Listen, I be seeing you on a treadmill and I'm like, how is he so stable on there, like rocking that treadmill dancing?
Hey, you better stop that. Your boy done failed a couple of times.
You just be in tune with it. Like you really do. Especially like I appreciate your car jams, right? I appreciate the music, but I definitely appreciate like the positive message that comes from it, the quotes that you have. And I'm like, some of the stuff, I'm like, damn, where did he get that? Like it resonates, you know what I'm saying? And I'm just waiting for the day you go live and you be like, y'all, guess what? Duncan has finally gave me a deal. Like, cause you represent them so well.
When I first, even before I grew the platform to where it is now, I think I'm close to like 170,000 followers, right, on TikTok. I got, a few thousand here on Instagram, but probably right after I hit like 10,000 followers on TikTok, a rep from Duncan emailed me like, yo, like this is the energy that we're looking for. Email us right away. We need to talk. So like there have been some discussions. They've sent me swag, some little gifts here and there. But you're right. Your boy ready to get on that payroll, to do some big things, But again, the talks that I've been having is like, yo, like I want to continue to advocate for mental health and wellness in underserved communities. I mean, one of the things that I take real pride in is when I started the Be The Flow movement, I started the Be the Flow Wellness program, where I offered free meditation, yoga, and fitness classes to my hood. Because again, those are some of the tools that helped me get out of my dark space. And it was dope. I mean, I remember the first weekend, like 7 people showed up. And I'm like, that's when that self-doubt started creeping in. Like, man, what am I doing? Like, I was advertising, media texting people, like, Evites and all that. And I was like, you know what? I'm showing up again next Saturday, because it was every Saturday morning. And every Saturday, the numbers just continue to grow. But then COVID hit. And then once COVID hit, of course, everybody was trying to, what is going on in this world? So I found a space now where I found a new venue. We're in talks right now to get the paperwork on point because of insurance and all that stuff. But the Be the Flow Wellness program is coming back, and I'm looking for a partnership, whether that's Duncan or whoever else that want to step up and really support bringing awareness to mental health and wellness, in Chicago. And I want to be the flow in every city. That's the goal. I want to, travel this wellness program, bring it to Baltimore, take it to Detroit.
Hey.
Here we come, Toronto. We're in another country. Let's go.
Yes, like that is dope. And I heard you mention that before, and I'm like, damn, like I do understand why some people would not show up, but I'm like, how could you not? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the self betterment of yourself. And it's crazy because like my mom is a trainer, and she does like her little, not little, but her bodybuilding stuff. Right now she's a little inactive because she had ankle surgery, but she still be down here like working out and stuff, training her clients and all that. And I listened to her last week give a speech before she got off the Zoom with doing her HIIT class. And she told them, she said, every day y'all get up, or we get up and we punch the clock for the white man. Like, we are going to do something else for somebody else, right? And of course, that's how we get paid. That's our income and stuff. But when it comes to doing stuff for ourselves, we have so many excuses about why we can't work out. It's so expensive to eat healthy. And, no offense to anyone's financial status or nothing, but just speaking in general, that is it. People make excuses for why they cannot do things that's going to help better them.
No doubt. But it's easy, right? It's easy to make excuses. It's easy to quit. Yeah. It's easy to do things that really doesn't challenge you mentally or physically. But another old cliche, you get what you pay for. So if you're going to that dollar value meal drive-through, eating them double cheeseburgers, you're going to look like, like, man, if you're trying to walk up a flight of stairs, you're going to be huffing and puffing. So not only that's why I'm so excited about this new chapter that I'm exploring right now. Right now, your boy is working on his certification to become a certified health and life coach, because having these opportunities to speak not only to young teens, but I want to take it to corporate America. Like, I want people to understand that you have to invest not only in your mental health but in your physical health, because it's all linked together. It really is. Yes, it costs a little bit more to get that, turkey bacon over that cheap bacon turkey. You know what? It's worth it in the long run, especially now as you continue to do different research about some of this meat and all this other stuff with pesticides. You're just like, wow, but your body is your temple. You really do need, and that's why, bringing back the wellness program is something I'm going to take a lot of pride in, to not only continue to grow it in the Chicagoland area, but to be the flow in every one city.
That's dope. And I wish you so much luck. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to be watching. So, I don't know. I feel like I got to make a trip out there to Chicago at some point. I've heard so much.
Go. Let's go.
Listen,
but I'm come out on too, because I tell everybody, the best crab cakes I ever had in my life was when I was out in Maryland. No one.
Yes.
I mean, I've been in Cali, I've been down south, up. Nobody comes close to those crab cakes I had when I was in Baltimore, Maryland. So shout out B-More, shout out Maryland. Your crab cakes are amazing.
Yes, y'all heard it here, folks. All right. So being a Black man and being an advocate for not all Black men, but, advocating for the Black community, what are some ways that you feel like people can help support Black men specifically more? And I ask that because, like I said, I've had the opportunity to talk to a slew of Black men, and one of the main things is they said they feel like they don't have a safe space,
Right.
or people won't understand them. So in your opinion, what are more ways that people can support y'all more?
Well,
or how
again,
would you like to see people support y'all more?
well, again, I think, again, everyone's different, but in my opinion, I think everyone needs to have at least one person that they can be vulnerable with. And that, whether that's your therapist, because I am a huge advocate of therapy, and that's something in our community that we need to be more open to. But also, if it's not a therapist, it can be a friend, it can be a family member, somebody that you trust with your emotions as a man, as a Black man. Because again, I'm not the only kid that grew up in a home that their dad or the man in their life, whether it's a grandfather, uncle, what, boy, you ain't crying, you ain't no punk, you better not cry.
Mm-hmm.
Again, normalized in so many of our, in our childhood, right? Like, you couldn't be weak. And that was, they equated tears with weakness, and I think, being in a space now where I understand that it's okay to cry. It's okay to have emotions. That doesn't make me less than a man. That doesn't, honestly, I think that's a superpower. Being able to express your emotions and to know that you crying and you still who you are, nothing's changed. Like, that's nothing to be ashamed of. So as men, as Black men that may still be teetering that line of like, man, I don't want to talk about my emotions, like, I get it, brother. But you know what? When you do open up that door and you allow yourself to no longer carry all the stuff that you're carrying, man, I think that's when your life truly gonna begin. Because once I was able to express myself and understand why I was feeling the way I was feeling, why I thought I needed to carry all this stuff, once I worked through that, man, when I tell you, my life truly, truly began. And there's no better sense of freedom than releasing all of that. I remember my first therapy session, I was in that straight like this, man, whatever, I'm gonna pay this little copay, whatever, insurance paying for it, I'm up out of here. Man, I'm telling you, Peter, that second session, I think I might have went through a whole box of Kleenex.
Oh man, that's the best though.
But seriously, some things I didn't even know was traumatic that I talked about. The therapist's like, man, I didn't know you had to deal with that type of trauma. I said, trauma? Like, yeah, like, I'm like, she was like, yeah, that's trauma. Like, that's, so we worked through so much, but allowing myself to be in that space, to be vulnerable enough to trust this stranger with like some of my deepest, darkest secrets, things I've been carrying for over 40 plus years, like that, man, I'm telling you, was game changing. So I encourage anybody, if you're not in a place where financially or you can't go to a therapist, you find someone, because there's somebody out there that has that superpower just to listen, because everybody can't just listen without responding. I'm telling you, it's a true superpower to allow someone to be their vulnerable, authentic self and just listen. And sometimes that's all that's needed. We're not expressing our feelings to you to get your opinion.
Right.
Like, we just need you to listen. And that in itself, it can be therapeutic for so many people, so many Black men and so many Black women, so many people in the world, just having that safe space for someone to listen to you.
Most definitely. And I agree. Even being a female coming from a Black family, I felt like you couldn't cry, because it's predominantly women in my family. So all the women are like superheroes in my eyes, So I remember, like I always say, I remember times where like I would just be so sad. I mean, I had other reasons, and unfortunately I had a lot of childhood trauma, but I would just be so sad, like devastated, just cry. Like the littlest thing would make me cry. And I remember moments like, family would say like, girl, you too blessed to be sad. Like you got everything in the world. Like go play with your toys, go outside. And I'm like, I think it's something wrong. As a kid, it's not connecting. But just like you, like going to therapy, like I would say like my second consistent therapist, because sometimes it takes time. You got to shop around.
It is definitely a crapshoot. Trust me. The first person I went and sat down with, I was like, oh no, this ain't gonna work. No, it is about energy. Like it truly is. And I'm the same way with people. Like if it's negative energy around me, I'm like, oh, I'm going that way. Like it was the same thing with the first one. I'm like, this don't even feel right. And have to be able to trust your gut, especially if you're comfortable in your own skin, to know like, nah, this not for me. You got to go with that feeling.
Yeah, definitely. Like this therapist that I'm with now, I've been with her for a year and a half now. I've been in therapy though consistently since 2019, but this one right here has got this version of Shakita that people see before their eyes now.
I love it.
That has been able to talk about the trauma, like you said, like help connect the dots of things that seem to be like blurry. I'm like, it may leave you feeling like questionable about a lot of things,
No doubt.
but I guarantee you sticking with it is helped put me in a better position. Even when, I get triggered or have my moments, I'm able to like not go back to negative things that I resulted to, but I have different coping mechanisms and different positive things that I can resort to. But most importantly, I have a better understanding of myself.
Yes.
Because that was big.
It truly is. And that goes back to me saying, being comfortable in your own skin. As athletes, you can relate. We are treated different. And that's the world we live in. That truly is, especially, in our culture. If you're an athlete and you got game, people show you a little bit more love than they might, show to Brian that's just showing up to school every day, right? So, but still, when you get put on that pedestal, and there's still that sense of insecurity surrounding around you. Like, if I don't perform on a high level tonight, are they still gonna love me? Like all these things, the way your mind plays tricks on you. But when you get to that place, that true place of peace, when you're comfortable in your own skin, it doesn't matter what other people think or say, and you can trust your gut, you can be vulnerable and talk about things because there's no more shame, there's no more guilt. I remember a point in my life when like I couldn't talk about those dark days without getting emotional. Like there was I'm slobbing, crying, because it was so much still like guilt and shame about some of the choices that I made, during those times. But now, like I can stand in front of thousands of people and talk about my journey, about my story, and be mindful and have pride about where I'm at now, about this version of me right now in this present day. So, I you have to really embrace the journey. You have to. And those, again, you talk about that line, right? Those who scared to take that jump over the line, to really like set boundaries with people, to really understand that you have to put yourself first, not being able to pour from an empty cup, a cracked cup. Like you have to truly work on being the best version of you, because when you can do that, everybody around you gonna feel it. Everybody else is gonna be able to feel that energy and feed off it. And it's not draining you. It's just you moving the way you need to move. And I tell people, like, listen, if you were to read some of my messages from my inbox on Instagram to TikTok, that's why I'm a true believer that good energy is contagious. I get so many messages that people say, oh my God, I needed that today. Like, it's not even about people. Like, sometimes people don't even follow me. Like, I might just come on their For You page and they'll reach out like, I don't know who you are, but I needed that, but then you have those who truly follow me, who's been rocking with me from day one since I've been on this social media platform, that they applaud the consistency, and they applaud the fact that, you know, I try and keep it as authentic as I can, you know, because if I don't post, I hear about it. Like if I go a week of post and people are like, where you at, dog? Like, you good? And you know what? I'm not good. But if I'm not, I'm not push that energy out to the universe. I'm not gonna post. You know, I'm not do my stuff. You know, I'm gonna get my mind back right in a place where I know, okay, Scott, let's go. What are we rocking to today? You know, we're gonna put that music and message, you know, and we're gonna push it out to the people. But if I'm not feeling it, I can't give it to you. And I'm not gonna cheat myself. I'm not gonna cheat the people with that. So embrace the journey, man. Really do embrace the journey, because if I could touch one soul, one spirit with the, you know, the content that I push out, that's a victory to me.
Most definitely. And I'm the same way. Some people will call it isolating. I just call it, you know, getting rejuvenated, revamping my energy, my space. If I don't feel good, I can't put that on anyone else. Granted, I have therapists. I have a wonderful, solid support system, but anyone can offer any advice and help, but the best help comes from self, you know? Best help comes from self. So with us, as we wrap this up, we've talked about a lot of wonderful things. You offered a lot of great insight. I really hope it resonated with everyone that's listening, or at least someone, you know. Can you offer some type of advice for someone that's listening that is about to embark on their healing journey, or they're in the process of breaking down some mental barriers?
I would start with writing it down. Write down, what do you want? And you have to ask yourself that. What do I want from this journey? Like, you know, at the end of the day, before you start this healing journey, this self-love journey, write down, whether it's you start with writing down, these are the people that I need to set boundaries with. Like, it's okay to write those names down. And then you say, you know what? These are my health. Like, these are the things I'm going to do for myself physically. Write those things down. These are the things I'm about to do for myself mentally. I'm going to start incorporating these practices in my life every day. And you know what? When I don't do them, I have to hold myself accountable. Because accountability, you know, a lot of people that run from accountability, you know, because I'm in that space. You know, when I was 50, 60 pounds overweight, there was no accountability. Because in my mind, the only thing I had to do was get up, go to work to make sure I was still getting a check to pay my bills. You know, like, who was holding me accountable? I'm grown. I ain't had no kids. I'm just like, I'm out here doing me. But being able to hold yourself accountable, being able to visually see what those tasks that you have, you know, challenge yourself to accomplish, I think that is a great starting point. Like, there's things that, like, I don't never do like New Year's resolutions and stuff like that, but I do set new challenges for myself at the beginning of the year. And, you know, whether it's, you know, every month I go back to that sheet to see where I'm at, you know, whether it's things I challenge myself to do, you know, my health journey, or just where I'm at mentally with things in space, different relationships that I might, you know, like, I've never been in the space to burn bridges, but there are some relationships that I feel like, you know what, maybe that didn't end the way it needed to end. There were some things that went unsaid that I probably need to, you know, circle back on. So again, it comes back to that accountability, knowing, you know, that, okay, these are things that I need to do for self. I'm gonna hold myself accountable for it. And I'm gonna do that check-in, you know, whether it's every 2 weeks, every month, you go back and you look at that list and you hold yourself accountable and check in.
That's awesome. And I like the fact that you use accountability, because I feel like that is a learned skill and characteristic that many people lack, you know, in general. And speaking for myself, it was something that I lacked, because I lived a long time with a victim mindset, like that's a whole different thing, but it's really stepping out of that victim mindset and being able to take accountability for the role you played in different encounters and the role you play in your own life, you know? So I like that.
Yeah. Again, I say it, and not to just repeat stuff over, but things that work for me may not work for the next person. But again,
Right.
if you can find what works for you and make those habits, get in a routine, I'm telling you, life can move the way it needs to move.
Absolutely.
It really can.
Absolutely. And again, that was some wonderful insight. I think I needed that. Honestly. So I appreciate you for that. I appreciate you for this whole entire conversation.
We've been going back and forth on social media, talking and tagging and vibing, but I was able to, I can't remember what episode it was or who you had on, but I was able to catch one of your podcasts. And I'm like, look at here. She's doing her thing. Like, I love the structure you had with it, the vibe you were giving off. So I knew that I was definitely going to find time that me and you to connect and get to this place. So thank you for having me, no doubt.
Sure, I appreciate it, and keep doing all of your motivational videos. And like you said, the people that pour in your DMs and in your comments, just know that there are people that is probably looking and not saying anything, but you're helping them on a daily basis. And with that, yes, of course. And with that, could you please tell everyone where they can find you dancing, where they can find these motivational videos, all of your social media information? Can you please let everyone know?
Yes, for all my grammars, for all my Instagram people, you can go check me out at BeTheFlowMovement. For my people that rock with TikTok, it's at Mr. BeTheFlow. Now I just created my YouTube channel. I just started that. It's been about a month. I'm already over 200 subscribers. So you can go Yeah, you can go find me on YouTube now at Mr. BeTheFlow 11. So yeah, those are the three social media platforms I'm truly on is, Instagram, TikTok, now YouTube. If you're looking for someone to come in and talk to your men's group, your women's group, your schools, you can definitely email me at BeTheFlowMovement@gmail. It's just like right now, it's just about continue to evolve, continue to grow this brand, continue to normalize the conversation of mental health and wellness, being able to go on your self-love journeys. So I'm here for it all.
Yes, and definitely go tap in with him. And if you are in the Chicago or surrounding areas, I'll say definitely tap in so you guys will know when he launches this wonderful and successful BeTheFlowMovement wellness program again, correct?
Bring it back, no doubt. And if you want me to bring the wellness program to your city, reach out. We move too. We travel. I got yoga instructors. Sometimes I run the fitness portion or the meditation portion. So we out here. We doing some things. So holla at me.
Yes, I'm gonna stay away from that yoga because listen, I've been trying and yeah. I need some work in that area because that's a whole different type of stretching and stuff. And I'll stick to the fitness and the meditation.
Imagine being 6'5", 265, trying to hold a downward dog pose. That's a whole nother beast. Trust me. But no, yes. That actually, believe it or not, that used to be my biggest group. Bringing yoga to the free. I mean, people were coming from everywhere just to experience it. So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Definitely. But I will have his links all in the description box so you guys can go tap in with him and be motivated daily. Because I promise you, I think he posts videos every single day. Sometimes TikTok, we messing with the algorithm and messing people's stuff up, but he will pop up in the nick of time, so definitely go tap in with him. Get you guys one of these lovely self-love club sweatshirts and check out his website for his merch. Yes, this is like I swear to God, this is my favorite hoodie. Like, no lie.
I appreciate
my favorite hoodie.
What? No doubt.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna send you. So I got something else I want to send you. So look out for that in the mail. I still got your info, and when you got that one, so I got something for you coming your way.
Oh, I'm gonna have to update you because I just moved. So
Boy, I don't want to send your stuff to somebody else.
But I definitely got you, though, and I appreciate you again for this conversation and just for being the person that you are. So definitely Continue to take care of yourself, continue to love on your little princess, continue to just thrive, and because you are changing lives out here and we need more of you. So with that, guys, thank you for tapping in with us for this conversation. Like I said, all of his information will be in the description box below. So please go tap in with him. And of course, all of my information is in the description box, so you guys can come tap in with me on social media. If you are not following me on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and Facebook, please come find me, Chronicles of Virgo, on all of those platforms. And like I always say, if this episode did not resonate with you, that is okay. Please do send it to someone that you may know that it resonated with. Otherwise, peace out, y'all.
Peace. Thank you. You're awesome.